Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. What it do? What's up, Vaughn, Yoselin, Joe, Gabriel, Ruben? How y'all doing today? Okay, let's go. We're about to get this started here. Give me a sec. All right. Getting logged in here. Today is a shorter New York session just in general. So, okay, here we got it. Can't hear me live yet? All right, let's see here. Let's see what the lag is. Morning. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to look into a few big things here. And then also, before I do that though, let me let the people know we're live, ready to go. I know we started a bit later today. Today is kind of like a half day of trading for the markets with Juneteenth. So at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, markets will be closed. So today's session probably is going to be a short and sweet one as well. We'll see what kind of volatility we get because it's post FOMC. We may have some fun, but I have a feeling that we're actually going to see more go down on Friday. So post Juneteenth and FOMC, Friday should be it. All right, so I just dropped an announcement in the school. Tag the people that you think should be on and trading with. Let them know. Got the day off and been watching One Piece after the workout. It's been lit. I think I refuse to do One Piece just because, man, that's just like Naruto times 5 in length. And I'm not sure I'm ready for all that again. Buenos días a todos. What's up, Adrian, Kaz, Seth? How you doing, man? Edwin. Yo, guys, if you are in the Chicagoland area, we are going to be having just a little, an intimate little workshop, little just traders meetup. So reach out to Nancy or myself, and we'll give you some details to that. Okay, so let's dive into this. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a macro perspective right now. I want you guys to have a general idea of kind of what we're looking for. Now, if you're going to notice, the market looks like with more gaps, and it's a little more meh prior to, the volume coming in. But on the 4 hour, if you guys are starting to notice, we're starting to see what looks like higher time frame, distribution. We have liquidity that was building up here with Dow. So these highs that we were seeing get swept. Basically no demand. We mitigate over here. Last Thursday we get the sell-off, and then we're kind of building up and coming back into this zone. So we're looking at the 4 hour low right here. So this move here, May 23rd, you have a 4 hour low. This also happens during London session. So this here, what was this? May 23rd. I don't remember, on a Friday. What's up, Mike? So anyways, we get the low here, big spike down. Today, we might see a mitigation of these levels. So today might be when we come into this imbalance, we close this sell-off and bounce. The big thing is it going to be sustainable, Or are we going to just go straight? Are we going to just keep making highs? Or are we only going to see kind of a bounce and then work our way back down to this daily time frame lows? Not sure if we're going to get back into April 9th, but I do see the possibility of us trading back into this April 22nd, sell-off, imbalance. So over here on the daily, this could be the beginning of us working our way all the way back down. And so for everyone that's hopping on right now, appreciate you guys for starting the session off. If you're enjoying it, liking the stream, subscribing so you're not missing out on any. We're live basically like every trading day. And it's a good time. It's a good time. I trade live. My account's on here. Well, most of them. And then, yeah, you guys get to live it, see it real time. So, could we work our way down to here? This was, we can talk about this being the quarterly lows. So, to rebalance this, I could see it. But at this point, especially because we just didn't really stay above the highs here. So we may end up working our way down. Now, this is something that could take some time, right? This could be like, maybe we're over here sometime in like late June, early July, and then we rally. So when we talk about, and yesterday I was talking a bit about, if you were on the FOMC stream, FOMC or like CPI tend to be kind of catalysts to swinging, right? To like for the market to move in one direction. And I feel like FOMC, it was kind of setting us up for the beginning of a little bear, just a little slight bear. So sometimes it happens like this, where a week or two and then we just kind of rally. So looks like I think we can go into that. I think today and or tomorrow, probably tomorrow, we will have confirmation on whether we're going to get an accumulation here, a reaccumulation, or it's going to be a distro and it's game over for a couple weeks, which is fine. So, okay, let's dive into now smaller time frames. And before I go into the small time frames, let me show you what NASDAQ also looks like. Very similar, clears liquidity. You see that June 11th, so last Wednesday, clears that liquidity. I believe this was CPI. And then we see the drop. So very similar. That's Dow. Here's NASDAQ, my bad. Sesiones en español, casi no. Aquí si me piden traducción, se las doy siempre. Pero no, le he bajado mucho a las sesiones en español. Ya que muchos pues también aquí me entienden en inglés. Y si tienen preguntas, pues aquí me las hacen y se las contesto. Okay, so, and guys, we are going to be doing a giveaway tomorrow. So be doing a giveaway for the best wins in the community. And also if you're tagging the Tradetopia, the stream on your social medias, we're also going to pick a social media giveaway as well, just to create more exposure to the sessions and to the community. So with that being said, NASDAQ also gives us this liquidity sweep. We see very little demand. NASDAQ does a good job playing back into the mitigation of February, rebalancing over here. So now I think as we look at the 4-hour structure, so similar here to Dow Jones, we see, so look at Dow, right? Dow makes its low right there. So that Friday, May 23rd. And looking at NASDAQ also gives us a low right here. Same thing. And then we do get a higher high. We get a higher low. And it looks like we actually already rebalanced NASDAQ. Then we go and we try to trade higher, but there's just very little demand up here. So in reality, I still feel like this is actually our low, considering that we have very little demand above 22,100. Like we just barely ever trade over here. We do break through, but it just really struggled. ¿Qué tal, Mauricio? ¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo estamos, El Salvador? Yeah, and seasonality, bearish at the end of June, end of July with a rally in August. Fantastic. So with NASDAQ, we do already rebalance in here, and it looks like mitigation. It looks like we're a little short of trading out of this order block, so maybe we get over here. We'll kind of see how the market tends to move downwards, and then you can also look at S&P. S&P gets into imbalance, but there's definitely just key levels still over here. So at some point, I feel like we're going to work our way over to here. How we reject this is going to be very important. But going back to NASDAQ, we have this imbalance over here, and we could get a bounce in this. And if we're looking at intraday stuff, us getting down to these levels makes sense. I'm definitely going to be seeing if we can get a good buy, but I'm not looking for a swing. So what we're going to do now is let's get into the details. So let's get into the small time frames. We're just a few minutes away from New York Open. And right now, if we're looking at Dow is kind of like creating more liquidity at the moment. Entonces con Nasdaq básicamente muy similar a Dow Jones. Temporales altas parece que podemos estar empezando distribución, pero en temporalidades menores todavía no les he analizado. Now, FOMC was low-key kind of a heartbreaker because I think after review, I would say I was looking for over-confirmations for a short. And, 500 points later, ouch, we had it. So it is what it is. What's up, Josue? Patrick, welcome, Hector. All right. So what do we have today then? I'd say that today, if we're gonna look for if there's gonna be a buy on the table, I want us to sweep liquidity. I want us to get below all of these lows that we've had for the last basically all of June, and trade down into here. If we're gonna be any sort of buys, either we're gonna get something in around this order block or maybe even lower. But I will add, Dow looks like it's dropping a bit more than NASDAQ to kick things off. So Dow might be a bit more of the bear today. And then if we're looking at sells, do we have sells? So way up here, we have opportunities for shorts. On the 15-minute, this is a giant 15-minute push after the FOMC press conference, and then the imbalance, and then the market has worked its way down. So if we get a bullish start to the day, then I'm definitely looking for a nice short, and it could be a good one. Very, very quality here. So this is Dow at the moment, not looking to take any buy positions. And then with NQ also, took rebalanced here. The FOMC interest rates announcement. We have the press conference. We see the continuation to the downside. NASDAQ definitely more choppy up here. More choppy in the zone. I'd have to zoom in to see if we have, if there's a short in here or not. I can't really tell. Let's see here. It looks like we take the high. We play back into here. This, let's see. Here is that last push up before everything drops. So if we were to get really, really, really specific, I think, either way, it looks like we're seeing Dow be more of the bear anyway. So we'll see kind of how the market gets up to here, if it happens today, tomorrow, next week. So we're open-minded either way. Throw an alert up here. Same thing with Dow Jones. We already have our alerts set up over here. So cool. That's the 15-minute. Now, if we get into the nitty-gritty here, if we get into the details, because success is in the details. Here, these lines that I have marked up, this is basically liquidity that we're seeing. Look at this. por aquí. I have no interest in buying right now. I want us to go lower. NQ, check it out. NQ right now, setting lows. So we're trading right into, and we already kind of bounced out of this during Asian session. So I'm not really too interested in much. I would want us to see, get below the weekly open. That's fantastic. Right now, I would want us to sweep liquidity, get below these lows, trade into, somewhere over here. Get below some of this price action, trade over here. So this has more of an appeal to me than anything else. If you look at Dow Jones is similar in its movement right over here. Huge spike down. Trade out of this zone. If we want to see better price, we can look at this kind of smoothed over. Just so it's kind of easier to determine. So we see a nice move down. Market can still work its way, quite a bit more. As I'm looking at this is this right here is where we see the switch in contracts. So we go into here. That's why this actually looks a bit different. So if we clear liquidity, then we may be able to see some sort of shakeout setup. But that's what I would be waiting for is, can we see a shakeout setup with the market? Right now, we're dropping a little bit. New York Open is, whatever, like really, really minimal. Not doing too much. So if we were to get something like this, where the market would, let's say, crack the lows, break through to here, we, get some of that break and retest, starts to lure in some sellers. Something like this, then that could be a different story. This, then we can maybe see a move. But we need time. We need to let the market give us something like this. What you could also see right here is we are building up a ton of liquidity. So NASDAQ, tons of retail sellers, a lot of buy-side liquidity. Dow, similar story. Tons of retail sellers, buy-side liquidity. So for now, chilling. I'm going to have an alert if we get below the recent lows. Then we can kind of give it more attention. In the meantime, we can start looking at a couple other things. What's going on with the majors. Mike, ¿también sientes que el mercado ha cambiado un poco la liquidez? Hoy día es muchísima movimientos más grandes y rápidos que hace un par de años. No. No creo que ha cambiado. Como que es que esto siempre pasa. Cuando hay tiempos de guerra, cuando hay tiempos, cuando Trump es presidente, hay más excusas para volatilidad con los aranceles. Hace unos años eran otras excusas por lo que estaba sucediendo con COVID, cuando habían Brexit. Entonces es como que hay momentos fundamentales en que creen una temporada de volatilidad, pero no creo que ha cambiado como completamente, pero sí hay cambios, pero no son cambios afuera de lo normal, en mi opinión, aunque sea como que todos los conceptos funcionan, la psicología, la narrativa funciona. Entonces no creo que como que hay volatilidad, sí, pero es como que no lo siento tan diferente, aunque sí se mueve un poco más a veces, pero hay otras veces se calma. So what he was saying was like, do I feel like the market has changed a little bit. Like the liquidity of today is more, movements are bigger and faster. And what I'm saying is I think there's just moments, there's seasons. So this was like very mellow, you know, like you'll have days or weeks and then you'll get huge moves. So it just depends. Okay, let's see. Let's go look at the majors. Vamos a ver aquí qué tenemos con los pares del dólar with dollar-based futures. I'm in a silver buy at half R. Okay, let's look at silver. I saw you mention that earlier. I forgot to check it out. Silver buy. Okay, off this chart, that might not be the best one. I feel like I'm not getting... Oh, there we go. I don't really see the entry here. I see liquidity, but not an entry. So I'm chilling. Okay, so Dow and NASDAQ now starting to tackle on the lows. So take a look at this. Both are looking to break below the weekly open. It looks like right there. That's Sunday's price action. So aquí NASDAQ y Dow Jones se van moviendo debajo de la apertura de la semana. So this is good. All right, seeing this happen this way, great. What I want to see now is can we break through NQ lows overall? Can we just crack this liquidity? And then it looks like we'll probably maybe even break beneath all of this. So can we get through all of this and then end up getting a shakeout setup? So are we going to see, let's say, the market break below and then get very little demand so that we can maybe buy this up and take out some of this liquidity over here? So if we see, this was like the idea, right? If we see something like this, so here was, let's say, the new version of this, something like this. Yeah, we might see whatever. Then we can look for some sort of positions and then long this. As of right now, we need to wait. So ahorita espero, quiero ver si solo es una captura de liquidez y digamos no hay, que quizás no va a haber mucha demanda, algo así. Si algo así sucede, entonces podríamos buscar compras. So hey, what's up? It's a holiday today. So yeah, today is Juneteenth. Markets will be closing at 12 p.m. Central. Loading, possibly, my friend. Dow a little bit more bearish, so I think we may see this keep pushing a bit. So no rush. We'll come back to this. Okay, so we looked at silver. I didn't really have a setup. I didn't really see a setup there personally. And then we have gold. Let's look at some gold. Mr. and Mrs. Constitution. Interesting. Today, all Americans, not just descendants of African nations, celebrate the Republicans' wonderful decision to end slavery despite the Democrats' best efforts. Yep, cool. All right, I got a question here that says, Mike, una pregunta en tu caso. Si tendrías que volver a comenzar desde cero en trading, ¿Lo harías en CDFDs o futuros? Creo que no importa, en verdad. Creo que solo es lo que tienes disponible. En Estados Unidos es un poco mejor la situación con futuros, con temas de regulaciones, pero requiere más capital si operas con dinero personal. CFDs creo que necesitas muy poco dinero para realmente arrancar y poder operar bien. En temas de fondeos, ninguno es mejor o peor, en mi opinión. So he asked, if I were to start over again today, would I go with CFDs or futures? I think in the U.S., futures for live, like personal funded, is just like you have more options, but it does require more money. So starting off CFDs is kind of, it feels nicer, like there's a lower barrier of entry. Prop firms wise, it's definitely, I think it's better, but there's just there's pros and cons to both. So I don't really think there's one that's better or worse. It just is. It's just almost preference. Gold right now. So we saw a nice little sweep of liquidity. We see the market come back here. We don't really get higher highs. So can't really say there's mitigation here. But we do see a buildup. And because we get low demand over here, I'm not surprised that just 15 minutes ago we got into this imbalance and now we're trading up. So this is probably a good move. I wouldn't take this anymore unless we get a higher high. So if we were to get something like this and we get good demand, then we could look for maybe you get a good trade. But I would need something like this to happen first. Otherwise, I wouldn't really take this now or anything. This would need to set up first. GCQ is gold. It's just gold. It's gold, but with like a current futures contract. Okay. Cool. Keep a lookout on that. Now let's take a look at majors. In the meantime, I'll have I got it here set up so that we can have the indices chart on a different chart here right now. So let's see here. Let me clean this up. There's a lot going on. Okay, so looking at dollar pairs, the majors here, we're currently cracking below this here. So we're starting to sweep a lot of this low. You know, we had consolidation for a long time. I showed you guys the higher time frames the other day, and I was saying, like, look, we just have so much, like, basically like almost like a trend line channel going on over here for just a while. So I was like, you know what, like, we're bound to crack through this liquidity here soon. So retail, like, from these higher lows, it's just building up buyers and buyers and buyers. So whether it's now or later, I do think that time is running out and the dollar is going to start picking on some strength soon to kind of crack through all of this. For the time being, do I see buys? I don't have a buy setup here. I see support. I see liquidity, but I don't really have an entry. Where the entry could come into play here would be more focused around FOMC. So trading out of FOMC kind of makes way more sense here with the majors. Now, which major? So which is it going to be? The Australian, New Zealand, the Euro, the pound? It's going to depend on kind of how we work our way up into this zone. So, for example, here we got, what's going on here? 1 second, guys. Okay, there we go. Here we have the market just trying to trading down there, not doing much else. Euro, we had FOMC, but was pretty weak. And actually, hold on, my bad. I think no, okay, that's good. So, yeah, I'm not really focused on selling euro at the moment. The market hasn't been trending too much more to the downside relative to the Australian dollar. If you look at something like GU, same thing. Not so much focused on anything here, at least intraday. If you look at NZD USD, this is now a much better setup. And we had a pretty good exits, I'd say. We were pretty solid, spot on our exits with NZD USD overall. So this was the successful setup there. And then we had FOMC right here, right, with that spike up and then the drop. So whether it's Australian dollar or we see New Zealand here, I think we are in the market for shorts with one or the other. And it's basically just kind of waiting for the market to get up to here eventually in order to make that decision. Now, there we go. NASDAQ going even lower. Same thing with Dow. They're melting at the moment. So let's go take a look at NQ and at Dow Jones. See if we're in the market for maybe a buy somewhere. So let's zoom out a little bit. Now, you don't want to force anything, but we're getting the lows. Beautiful here. Beautiful. Breaking beneath a lot of price action here. So there we have NASDAQ cracking those lows. And we have Dow Jones working its way into this level that we had just previously talked about. So could we see the market bounce out of this area with Dow? And you kind of have two choices. Either you take a position with something like this, with kind of, you know, what we're seeing now, which the market could trade out of this order block with Dow, or you're looking at NQ, and you see how NQ here is breaking through both areas of liquidity, playing into where we kind of sold off from before. So at this moment, this is where, in my opinion, I think we're better off going and waiting. So you can just, you know, like either you're someone that you're like, hey, I feel a little bit more aggressive. We saw a massive spike. Maybe you're like, you know what, I'm going to take a position here. I'm going to go ahead and shoot my shot and kind of catch the absolute low, which I think at this point it's already a little too late. And if you do that, then fantastic, right? Like, shout out to you. However, I think I'm okay with kind of missing that first little bounce and getting a further confirmation for it here. So, for example, right now, what we're seeing is, so let me stretch this out here so you guys can kind of see. So check this out. Now, this red line is previous levels of support. So we may see the market come back to here or here. And so we see, okay, sweep of liquidity right now is kind of like, is there demand or not? Does the price really want to be here? Or is this just a sweep of liquidity luring in sellers? So now is like, this is what we're talking about here, right? Sweep of liquidity. So, you know, walking through it. Maybe we play out of here. If the market can kind of like actually just kind of prove to us like, yeah, this is we don't really want to trade below 21,700. And if it kind of just briefly comes back in there again, then we can go ahead and, make the next decision. So let's see. Right now, rejecting there. So this is NASDAQ. Let's look at Dow. Dow not as, like we didn't get a very significant bounce here. Support or resistance is way up here. Way over here on Dow. So don't want to jump the gun by any means. Not at all. So I'm not buying or anything like that. This is not enough to show it. Like this right now is kind of showing us actually there is demand down here. Unless this goes higher right away. But we want to let the market tell us what it wants to do. Show us the narrative. Show us its hand. That's all we want right now. Okay, so let's see. All right, so looks like it's coming back up. Let's see if we trade up here for a bit, and then we might just pull back into this later on. There we go. See, Dow starting to make his move as well. NQ pushing along. Okay. Let's give it some time. Morning, Broly. All right, yeah, Michael, I can take a look at the yen. Let me pull it up. Yay. All right. So far, guys, how are you guys going about the session? Have you taken anything? Are you out of the market? Are you kind of letting the market build out, roll out? What's been the perspective? What up, Hector? How you doing, bro? What's on the radar for you today? How's your week? That's the cousin right there. El primo. Actual. All right, so let's take a look at the yen. Sells at, okay, so you're looking at obviously the futures. So let's look at 6J. Where are you looking to trade? Did you send a chart somewhere? Okay, futures. I see it here. 5 minute. Okay. So if we zoom in a little more here, I'm going to actually pull it up to the 1 minute. And on the 1 minute, or 5 minute, 1 minute, either or. We see the market, little pump, little London session pump up here before it drops. I get it. I see it. And then the market trades down for about an hour. Kind of quickly comes back up. I don't love it. I don't love it. I feel like we didn't have that much demand over here with the yen. When I look at it this way, it looks like it sweeps the lows, comes right back up. If anything, this might end up being a shakeout and trade higher somewhere over to here. Trade into FOMC maybe. That's kind of what it looks like because it just swept lows. Look at the 4 hour too. That's kind of my take on it. So, use that as perspective, not that I'm necessarily right. It just kind of is how I'm perceiving that. Now, okay, guys, so check it out. We're seeing NQ work its way higher. This is starting to appear like it can be a shakeout play here. Oh, no, not bad. Gotta switch this over. Before we make any decisions, though, pull this up here. We want to compare Dow with NASDAQ. See which one is looking a bit more likely to work out, if any, right? Because these don't necessarily have to play out. But we're definitely seeing the indices rally at the moment. And between Dow and NASDAQ, can't say I have quite decided if which one's going to be more likely to run bullish or stay within the structure. Kind of want to give this one a little more time. So undecided at the moment. Did you already get triggered in for your yen short, or were you waiting a little higher? USD CAD ranging at the moment, so kind of traded out of here, moved sideways. It was relatively bullish. It was for the dollar relative to everything else, so I didn't do anything here with USD CAD. If we're looking at some smaller time frame stuff, I think FOMC left behind a pretty good level here, like just a good setup. Sweeps some lows, plays into imbalance, and then carries on. So that we may be in the market for buys. And this kind of happened just with the dollar overall. So if you are like marking up a whole bunch of dollar pairs and you're like, man, I have a whole bunch of zones, it's all basically looking to trade out of FOMC at some point. So it's more about choosing the right currency to trade. Is CAD going to be the best setup? Is it going to be NZD? Is it going to be Australian? So yeah, keep that in mind as you're looking and you're sorting. Like, for example, USD CHF already came back to trade into FOMC. So, I mean, I wouldn't really necessarily look to buy this. It looks like it's building up liquidity on the kind of like if you look at overall on the throughout the week, like intra-week, definitely tons of liquidity building up. If anything, this might go up to just crash again. So no setups for me there. And then the yen as well swept with FOMC. Already kind of came back and then has rallied. So right now, I'm chilling with this. So now, right, we just crossed over into the new hour. We tend to see, right, the new hour, this 9 a.m. candle, or if you're in Eastern time, the 10 a.m. candle, tends to have a bit more volatility. So right now, we're kind of going to see, like, is this accumulating, and just check it out, is this building up break and retest sellers? Because this is the 1 hour, right? Is this building up break and retest sellers for the market to then push down and trade higher? That's what we're seeing right now. With NASDAQ, that's what it's doing. If you look at Dow, it's on a similar pace. So I could see us getting the move to the upside from right here, right from where we're at with NQ here. If it's not a ton, but I do have this feeling that we're gonna run from here. And so if you do have time to get set up, maybe you take a little bit less risk on for a trade like this. But I can see this playing out from a buying perspective from right around where we're at now. So this around here, this is a shakeout setup. And then I have my sell stop here. So let's see if it rolls through. And then the first targets would be just to kind of rebalance some of this move. That's the first thing. And again, to recap this trade, basically, and I'm actually slightly under leveraged on this trade, but reason being, so the setup, the reason I chose this one was, and this could have been NASDAQ or it could have been Dow. It looked relatively similar. Dow might have been, honestly, the better decision. I can't really tell yet. But as I was going over things, right, we were starting to reject this level of resistance from the past, the support, which converts into resistance right now. So the market, when it came down to here, had very little demand. The market wanted to trade up here a little more. Once we dipped down and cleared some of this, like 10 minutes of liquidity, then it's like, okay, cool. This may want to push higher. Now that it lured in some sellers, we may want to go past this. And so let me zoom out for you guys so you can see a little bit better. But basically what we had setting up here was liquidity, liquidity, liquidity. Market takes it out. Doesn't really spend much time over here. Works its way back up to this. At this point, this lures in break and retest sellers into the market. And there's definitely a chance that we go lower. But since it started to reject this zone and we traded right around here, this gives the opportunity for sells to come in. So when we had this entrance into the new hour and the market comes back down and it trades right into here, this for me was a green light to, okay, this is luring in sellers one last bit. And then we can see the push back up into this range. So that was kind of the mindset behind this trade right now. And then in terms of exits, the conservative exit would be to trade into just kind of the imbalance over here. We do have liquidity, tons of liquidity, as it's been marked up already. So it's a bit more ambitious, and we'll kind of see how this moves. Like if we're going to sweep some of this liquidity, we'll see. Remember, today we don't have all day, right? The market will stop moving in less than 3 hours. So with the risk reward that we have set up, honestly, just trading within this within this New York Open kind of makes sense. I think we can clear New York Open highs and kind of just see maybe a little push above. So I'm not going to be overly ambitious with a buy today. I think I'm cool with kind of trading into this imbalance, depending on if it's Dow or NASDAQ that's running. So like, for example, Dow is pushing up a bit faster than NASDAQ. So the best scenario would have been to trade, it looks like Dow, just by a little bit. And so we'll kind of see. This might be a little bit of traffic we run into here. So what I'm gonna do now, since we're getting a nice little pump here, starting to see this pick up some momentum. Look at that, Dow trading way up here, while NQ, and Dow coming right into this. NQ not as aggressive, It's still, moving bullish, but just not at the same pace. So what we can do now is one of two things, which would be, one, I would start to tighten up the stop. So tighten this up here. No reason to, I would say, have to take a full loss anymore. So something I think like this is valid. Maybe even if you wanted to give yourself a little bit of wiggle, maybe we see the imbalance or like a little push under here. So I would reduce risk overall, because now we're starting to get movement towards the upside. And then in regards to exits, considering that, for example, with a trade like this, the RR it adds up pretty quick. So like we had already seen almost a 1R already. Taking this just into New York Open brings us up to just around a 3R, a little under, basically a 3R, I think. And that's trading below New York Open, which is fantastic. So if you have conservative exit just at this little order block right there, and you're looking at a 2R, this is super, like, high probability exits would be, trading out into this. This right here is high probability exit zone. Yeah, you're not taking a whole bunch home, but you are locking something in here. So let's make something different here. All right, and then taking a look at Dow. Dow's starting to push up, NASDAQ pushing up too. So now they're kind of on the same page. Actually, they're relatively similar. And the chances of us going up into this zone, I think, are pretty good. So right now we're floating at just about a 1R. The risk now has been cut in half. Appreciate that. What do you guys? Did you guys decide to take anything here? Did you stay out? What are the decision making here? What's up, PG? No trading today? That's cool. Waiting for majors to go into zones of interest. Fantastic. Yeah, I'd say look for FOMC. Trading out of FOMC for sure. Is there a trading in the matrix type of video regarding the shakeout setup? Not looking to switch / combine. Just curious since you sometimes look at it. Trading beyond in the matrix type of video. Just like a lesson? I don't think I have one recent. I did one before, maybe like a couple years ago. I'll work on one. That'll be on my added list of things to do. What I would love from all of you, and to build off of that, actually. So to build off of that, what I would appreciate from all of you is, one, let's go, Isaiah. Isaiah, you've been on fire, man. You've been killing those top step accounts. I'm going to make a post in the school because I want to get feedback from you guys in relation to YouTube videos. Like, I want to make videos and give you guys value, like, just, and so I can post on here. So I'm going to make a post in there, and you guys, I want to hear, like, what video what you would want to see from me, whether it's specific things on the psychology side of things, specific things on the technical side, prop firms, like questions regarding that, financial side of trading, like anything that you'd want to learn more about in a structured video, then would love for that to be something. So you can drop it here in the chat. I'll make a post in the school, in our community as well, so we can be on the same page there. In there with you. Nice, Josue. Isaiah's locked in there. Some of you waited, and that's totally fine. Today, like I mentioned in the beginning of the session, today we weren't really sure what kind of volume we were going to see. So, I mean, either way, we've already worked our way down 140 points, worked our way up from the low, another 60 or so. So it's all RR in my book anyways. So, chilling. Okay. Now, looking at Dow as well. Kind of seeing it's been a slow move up. So it hasn't been, an explosive rebalance or anything of the sort. It's been pretty mellow. Dow kind of cooled down the last few minutes, whereas if you look at Nasdaq, it's actually a bit more bullish. So ultimately, we did make the right choice in trading Nasdaq. Shout out to Tradetopia for the mindset and psychology behind trading overall. We got you, bro. We got you. And there's a lot more. There's so much more that I just need to upload on there. So the vault is maybe like 3% uploaded. There's a hilarious amount more. In MNQ and NQ. Okay. In NAS 100 on Trade Locker, set stop loss, break even already, minimizing all risk, and just set TP below New York Open. Beautiful. Love to see the consistency there, Yoslin. Okay, so I know you were looking at yen. I don't know if you ended up taking that. I mean, it looks like it's playing out for you, bro. So stick to your guns, do your thing. Okay, so majors doing their thing. Metals we looked at. How are we feeling with natural gas and oil? I haven't looked at natural gas in actually about a month or two. So what's the word here? How are things looking over here? Did we switch over contracts yet? Looks like yes, recently. Oh, it's not a rampage. Sheesh. So this thing finally ripped again. Man, what a swing. I think this has been like a year plus hold now. Oh, look at that. Accumulation. Boom. Boom. Wow. Who remembers this? Who remember these entries from like the way beginning? Crazy. Sweet. Onwards and upwards. Right now, I don't think I'm really in the mood for anything here. There's no confirmation for any sort of trades with natural gas, so I'm chilling. Maybe some of you caught a buy right there yesterday in London session, but not too many setups building up here with with natural gas. Update here with NQ with Nasdaq. What I'm gonna do now? Let me drink some. Get a little hydration. What I'm gonna do now is the following. Let me double check Dow, just see how we're. Oh, this thing changes all the time. I'm gonna move my stops, tighten those up. I think basically to break even, but let me get this sorted here. Okay. So we've seen Dow just kind of consolidate while we're seeing NQ slowly tread upwards. So at this point, I feel like there's no need to have any risk on the table anymore. So I'm going stop, like a point, 2 points up into profit across the board. See if we can get the move back up into this range. We're now trading at where we've seen some of these order blocks. So like I mentioned, if you wanted some sort of conservative exit, this is probably going to be the place to get it. Would be like right here. So this is if your objective is I'm here to take the nearest high probability exit, then basically right here is the place to do so. Obviously, you guys can tell like the market's not really moving the way it normally does. Bank holiday, low liquidity, pretty normal. So, yeah, with that being said, I'm in shorter session today. No reason to just kind of stay here lurking. I can answer some questions here before I go. So let me go here, see what you guys have. In on trade locker for shorts at 0.59787. Tending got tagged in, seeing a lot of sell side liquidity. Saludos, ingresando. Let's go. Break even on silver. Cool. Video, segunda parte de trading más fuera de la matriz. Okay. NZD, I didn't see anything with NZD. Like, I saw no trades right now with majors. You're saying you see sell side liquidity. This just looks like consolidation to me. Yeah, I wouldn't have no business there. I'm to 1%. I'm to 1% to pass my challenge. You need 1 more percent to pass? Is that what you're saying? You can ask in Spanish too if you prefer. Advice? Just keep your risk, what you've been risking, if it's been working and you're not like getting in your head. It sounds like you're getting a little nervous. So are you concerned because of your risk management? Do you feel like maybe you want to pass just faster? And my advice there is there's really no timeline. This isn't like Formula One, you just trade. If it takes a few days, if it takes another week, that's fine. Focus on the risk reward. I would say don't change anything. Just do what you've been doing. If the way you got to there was a little reckless, then that might be why you might be a little nervous now. So that's a big one. Bro, in 2021, 22, trading fuera de la matrix changed my life. Sick. That's amazing. Thank you. So, I mean, right now, yeah, let the trade run. If it plays out, it plays out. Would be cool. If it just goes break even, then that's also fine. The fact that we even got a setup on a low liquidity day like today, that's cool. But cool. All right, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Go touch some grass. Go live your life. Do something hard.